Yeah, that'll be fun. The saw's in the way. I mean, the camera's in the way. This should be really safe. Oh, here he goes. Hold your ears. We'll try it. Oh, gotta put in earplugs too, huh? You know what? Let's get the rest of them ready. I'm gonna try and square them up and cut them to length. This is going to be the short side of the pie boxes, and they are what is it? 8 boxes we're going to be making. So that's going to be 2 of each size. And let's see how this goes. It's usually very boring and tedious, but we'll try and make it exciting by maybe talking once in a while. So right now we've got a jig. I guess they call this a slide. On the back side we've got a guide. That's the way it locks into my table saw. And then this side is squared up, and this is squared up to this guide. And then I take this table saw and I cut the board. And I did that when I was making my 45 hives. I cut the board, and now I know that that edge is pretty much out of the way. And then what I'm going to do is, it looks like I wrote it down here so I don't have to remember this, but it looks like it's 16 1/4, and that's going to be the sides, and the ends are going to be 19 1/8, right to that little line. So no stops. We're just going to have to eyeball it each time. It should be close enough. It's only for B boxes. So first, we cut these out roughly with the hand saw, because my table saw was out for repairs. And as you can see, it's pretty close. So we're going to just trim them up, make sure that they're square. Hopefully that'll make it easier for assembly. Well, hold your ears. I've got a pattern. I spray painted it, and so I don't cut it up and use it as a box or anything else. Let's see if it matches up. Looks like I'm just a hair shorter. Of course, my pattern was a pretty rough cut. It looks like it's pretty much right there. So now the other thing I'm going to have to do is, what's that, the rip? So we can make it just a little bit narrower, screw them up. But I think it's going to work. I'm going to go through these boxes here, or sides, and square them up. Here we go. Hold your ears. All right, let's change the angle. I get bored of stuff very quickly. See if I can't knock over the camera. That'd be exciting, wouldn't it? Nobody reminded me. We're supposed to be wearing these things, right? Face protection. Yep. All right, we're putting it on. Face protection. There we go. Now we can't see. Now, what were we doing last? I have no idea. I think this one hasn't been cut yet. That was exciting. Let's see if we can change angles. All right, here we go. Hold your ears. Well, that's the last one of those. Now we're going to make the long side. The long side is very similar. This is what it's going to look like. I have a 5-inch long handle, about 2 5/8 inch down from the top. It's going to be about, man, I forgot what that was. What's the other one? About 4 7/8 down to the bottom of the handle. Oh, there it is. 4 7/8 down to the bottom of the handle. Of course, when I first did these, I did them by hand, so I didn't even have a guide. So that's the goal, the air. This is the air we're aiming for. About 7 1/16 inch from the ends. And that's the goal. So let's make this one now. This one is 19 1/8 inch long. We got one extra. I made the boxes. That's the way the trees came out. You never know when you're going to cut a tree, what you're going to find. Knots or splits or nails, or just take what you got. This is all from one tree. A log, a section of a tree, that is. One log. I think. Actually, it was last year, so I'm not sure if it was one log. Don't quote me on that one. A lot of things happen in a year. And I can see this is just a hair longer than my guide jig. I think it's because it's out of square. Like I said, when I made these, rough. Now we're going to cut the long ends. I'm going to use the guide mark on this one end here. Let's put it back where you were. I'm going to use this long mark right here. This is 19 1/8 from the blade. But first, I'm going to trim up one edge and make it square first. And go from there. All right, hold your ears. Oh, let's change the angle. How about there? My goal is to knock the camera over. Not really, but I will. Hey, 3 to go. Let's change the angle again. I used to use my saw fence to do this, but I noticed with the saw fence, it has a little bit of play, and when you get a big board in there, you got this little dinky fence here. Oops, what did I just do with my camera angle? No idea. Camera switch. Oops, there goes everything. When you got this big board here, you're trying to do this. wobbles so much. But like, why bother? So, YouTube how they do sleds, and I'm like, let's try that. I'll tell you what. That fence doesn't shake a whole lot. It does a little bit, but that's the reason. Let's try this side. Like 3 more to go. And now you're in the way. Can't get the fence back. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Cutting bee boxes. Oh, and this thing's got a big knot. It's not all the way through. So I'm going to use it. It only lasts a couple years anyways, what they say, so. That's definitely the same. That's the lost field. Well, that's the last of that step. So now the next part is we got to cut the boxes, the boards, the width, the length. Stick you in there. See if that fits. Nope. Not quite tall enough. Killed it. There's zoom on this thing. Very limited options here. All right, so now I got to make the right width. So for that, I guess we're going to use the fence. See how close we have these. So split the difference, like a blade's width. Now we have them nice and screwed up. Let's adjust this to the thickness of the blade. And I guess we should check this, make sure this fence is the same on both sides. So we find one of these teeth. Get this camera to stay still. Good luck. Can't see a thing. There we go. All right, so we're gonna check to make sure the fence is the same on both sides. We're gonna find one of these teeth. Man, one of them is poking out. Looks like it's 9 7/8. Not convenient. We're gonna do the same on this side. 9 7/8. Got the fence just a hair. 9 7/8. Let's check this side. Double check it. This is how you get carpal tunnel, whatever it's called. Bang it with your wrist. I think it's close enough. Should be square. Alright, so I'm in the studio now. Now I'm going to try going to YouTube now and see if I can go from there and have the same thing running. Let's see. Go to YouTube. Your channel. Live. Very bizarre. Is this Memorex? Oh, I wonder if that's delayed now. 5 minutes delay. Move it. StreamYard. Okay, so now we're in a StreamYard, and we have a little window for the other. Pause that other one. There we go. Now maybe we won't have an echo. So let's try cutting them again. Just about the width of a blade. So that's what, an eighth of an inch maybe?
That's not good.
was interesting. Now we're going to do the rest of it. So these are 9 5/8 inches high. Yeah, my pattern's a little off. This is where you measure it from. That's what it's supposed to be, 9 5/8. Let's go for that next. Should do it. Now we'll cut the other side. Hold your ears. That's almost half of them done. Here's some more. Hold your ears. All right, I have 4 that were not quite the same as the rest. They're about a blade. Wow, they're very close. Oh, I have 3. That's the pattern. I'm just going to pick the best side. They're kind of rough on one side. That was done by the sawmill. And just go with it. Look all the same. Let's just do it. All right, they're all cut to width. In theory, all these should match the same as the pattern. And it's just a hair shy. I think I decided my pattern was too big anyway. Pretty close. And where's the other one? This is the problem with doing this stuff. You make one mistake 100 times, and you'll be up the creek with a lot of boxes that you can't use. Been there, done that. Of course, you can always just add on. That's what I've been doing. Like when I first made this, I decided I was going to add a 16th on. And that's what I did. I added a 16th on. And This same pattern, I added a 16th on. In the end, I think I added a 16th, but I think I want to take it away. What ended up happening was the frames were fitting a little bit too loose when my boxes swelled, and they would fall down inside. So now I'm making them a little bit closer to the exact same thickness as, or the same length as the frames. So if that's butt up is closer to exactly the same as the frames, that way that hopefully when it swells, they're like so close that hopefully they won't fall down in. I mean, it's just like a 32nd smaller. We shall see. I may wish I never did it that tight. Like for example, you put that box together like that. That's where she comes up against. I don't know. I may have just messed these all up. Gotta make them too tight. That's just a hair smaller. We shall see. Time will tell whether I hate it or like it. So now the next part is, let's do the handle. Let's do the handle. That seems like a fun part. So for that, I made another jig. And that's going to involve the Dado. So I've got to unplug it so I could change the blade and put in the Dado. I think I made the Dado 5/8. I forget. I don't really think it matters. Might have been 3/4. One of these things fits down in here. So I guess this one goes down here. There it is. Let's try and do this without cutting our fingers off. Oh, that is tight. How about we let something else take the hurt? What can we use to whack this thing? How about a piece of a tree? Should be loosening it. I think we just bent the wrench. Holy cow. We're bending the wrench. Huh. Wonderful. They got that thing on there so tight. I guess I gotta go get a bigger wrench. They'll probably lose me. I'll be back. And that should be back. We'll see. In the playback, got a big wrench. This is further from the blade, so I don't have to worry about cutting it, right? Oh my. My, oh my. That was tight as all get out. Actually, it feels like the nut is not letting go, so I think they actually over tightened it and stripped the threads. I don't know. Usually by this time, you should be able to thread that nut completely by hand now. Got about 3/8, and now it's finally where I can do it by my fingers. 3/8 on that shaft. Yeah. It looks like a little chewed up in the very, very last part. Oh, and with the Dado, you don't use this thing, the splitter, whatever that's called. It's out of there. First time use that blade. Now we get to clean out all this stuff. Paint stirrers, right? Actually, they've been cutting across the grain, so they can't be very strong. They just split and break off. And I'm not using any dust collection device, so this thing fogs up. I guess they want you to use a dust collection device, but has no manual, so I have no idea. So now comes the Dado. And it's just fun to check the thickness of the one we did before. I have no idea. 3/4 inch? Half an inch? See what 5/8 looks like. So with the 5/8, looks like one blade on each side and 3 splitting devices. So that's what we're going to do. Actually, let's see. What does this take? This is 3/4, right? Oh, wait. That's 5/8. That's 3/4. Let's go 5/8. End up tightening and untightening the blade anyway. We got to put the blade on the outside. Threading facing out. Then we get one of these inserts. Then we get one of these splitters. Teeth facing me. And when I put it in there, only because I read the instructions, they want it to go in between this clean out. That's where they want the tooth to go, in between these little clean outs. And they tend to move around no matter what you do until they're completely tightened. So you can do whatever you want, but they'll move. You got to keep adjusting it. And I'm going to tell you a secret about this saw. This saw really can't handle this stuff. The shaft's not long enough. So I would not do it if it was something you want to live after. Supposedly, I heard that these saw blades can loosen up because the stopping action of the saw, it stops so fast that it can unscrew the nut, which would send the blade flying like a saucer. Well, see, this nut is just going to be barely on there. But you don't want to do that, do you? So if you're trying to do this with the saw that I'm doing, by remorse, I made a mistake. This saw really can't handle it. Which is probably why they don't sell you Dado blade insert in the deck. You have to make your own. I'm just going to dance around until you get it completely tight. Just trying to get it close and hope. If you don't get one tooth off or something, then you have to loosen it in order to get it back where you wanted it. Tell you what, this wrench, as you really push this down without getting near the blades. But I tell you what, that nut is already stripped. All right. Let's see how we can bust something here. They don't sell you a Dado insert, so you got to make your own. And it rests on 4 tabs. But this is not going to have any place to lock. Let's see if they changed it since the last time I had the saw. Let's saw. See if it's the same. Look at that. But this can dance and spit out. So that's kind of dangerous. But we're not going to even use it. We're going to use the jig. So we don't even need to insert. So for the jig, it's a piece of plywood. I put a guide on the bottom, squared it up to the edges. Piece of 2x4. Piece of wood I just ripped. I have no idea what the dimensions is. Probably 1/2 inch. That's what happens when you cut trees. You can do whatever you want. So the idea is this locks on the front and back of the table, and this locks on the guide, and then that way it stays put. Primarily, it dances up and down a little bit. For the most part. Now you just gotta find the blade. There she is. Now I crank this up until it's just about 4 inches of the width is sticking out. And I'm going to tell you this is just a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it up because it's hitting the sole. It's just a hair off. Oh, you got to plug it back in too, buddy. I lost the extension cord. There we go. Oh, you saw that? That's the difference between this saw and the other ones. Very, very little difference. Now this is going to stick up because the wood is 3/4 inches thick. This is going to stick up about 1/2 inch. That way it doesn't stick out the other side and have a big hole for the bees to go through. I'll go about 1/2 inch deep. And then this guide, not this one, I set it for the big one. So it goes from this is the 4-inch part of the blade. 4 inches sticks up. So my handle is 5 inches. Not this one, but the ones after I figured out what I was doing. So what I do is I put a stop up here at this end. What is it, 5 inches? And I move it 5 inches down, and there's a stop on this end. And now that'll give me a handle roughly 5 inches big. And then the handle goes down in the trough, and that stops there, which is 2 5/8 from the top. And it starts 4 7/8 from the end. So it starts at the edge of this. We work our way down, and that should work. Make a handle. So we work it from the top, slide it down. And this stop on this one end over here, this stops it from flying across the room. Then we work it up toward the edge, and it wants to keep falling down, so I kind of jiggle it, and then I get it eventually across. And that's the procedure that I've worked out. So let's run the big box, big ends. First, now I got to shuffle through all these because I got them all mixed up. Go figure. Oh, one other thing I've come across, YouTubers were telling me why my boards were warping on the rabbit joints. I guess that's what they call this, a rabbit joint. It's because my grain was curved the wrong way. So let's talk about that for a moment. Huh. Have to find one that's got the grain that way. There we go. All right, so on the saw blade, or the tree, the center of the tree is here. And these grain curve around the center of the tree. Theoretically, it starts out like this, and as it gets wet, one side expands faster than the other, and it tends to straighten out like that. So if you always remember trying to straighten out the curve, what they want me to do is have this side here pushing into the box. So if I nail the center, it's going to make the tops tight. Because if I go the other way and it's curving this direction, the tops coming down, they loosen up the top and the bottom. At least that's what they're telling me. So always have the handle cut out of the centermost of the tree. So when I'm cutting the boards, I have to look at each one. Now some of these tree boards are what they call quarter sawn, where the grain is straight up and down. And then it's curved and it's straight up and down. So normally you'd want to cut out this center part because that's unstable. This is more stable. So this is quarter sawn, but it's easily split. So this could actually just separate really easily. So that's the weak part of the quarter sawn lumber. It's actually less prone to splitting here because the grain is going this direction. Here it tends to split here. Here it kind of tends to split on the curve. So this probably will not split the board, but this probably will. But this tends to chip out of the center. It kind of ripped out. You'll have like whole sections rip out when it kind of deteriorates. So there's the perfect lumber. It's a tree. So yeah, let's cut some boards. That's what it would look like if you wanted a 4-inch handle. So we want approximately 2 1/4. It's a little shallow, 2 inches. Maybe my jig is off a little bit. 2 inches. So I lost a quarter. Now we're going to chop the top side. We'll work it up there. Now our handle is roughly 5 inches long, about 2 inches deep. About 7 1/4 from the one side. 7 1/4 from that side. And 2 3/4 from the top. It's supposed to be 2 5/8. Oh, I guess split the difference half between 5/8 and 3/4, or 5/8 and 3/4, right in the middle. Close enough. So let's do some handles. Now this one, the center of the tree is right there. Normally you don't want that, that's very unstable, but we can't decide which way it's going to go. I guess it's going to be a disaster. We'll just pick any old side. So we'll pick the prettiest side, the outside. How about that one? And we'll put it in the quarter-stone side, more stable. That's all the long box size. Now, in order to use the same jig for the short side, this time around I decided to, instead of unscrewing and screwing the whole block, I decided to try and make it where it was hinged, but it didn't seem to work because the hinge would let go and the board would flop around. So I'm still back to screwing it. So I don't know. Maybe there's another way, but for now, we're going to screw it. So it'll stay down. So now that'll make it easier for me to do the little boxes. Love it, buddy. Oh, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it. I really liked watching This Old House and all these crazy do-it-yourself type shows. So it's not This Old House, but it's my mess. All right, so now theoretically, this will, I'm not going to leave you up all night, Jimmy, unless you make another comment. Theoretically, this should line up with my lines. So now we've got the 5 inches for the handle. And it'll line up with the blade on that stop and that stop. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. These pieces of wood, they were actually supposed to be the size of a B box frame, and I figured it's close enough. So this is a B box frame, and they're the same width as those. So I'm just going to go with it. They're a little bit smaller, but since I already have them cut out for that, I decided to destroy 2 of them. Instead of being ends, they're going to be my guide stops. So that's the way I came up with that one. So that's going to be the new handle for the sides. Big. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at the grain, make sure that each one we're going to cut from the center so that when they straighten out, this will be on the outside and it will push down. So that's the plan. I'm going to move all my boards up in the pile here so I don't have to bend over each time so far. And we're going to cut all these handles for the short ends. Keep me up all night. Now that is my addiction. I love staying up all night long. Only problem is I see now that it's 10:30. I will be given the warning soon. The boss is going to tell me to go to bed. So it may not finish tonight, but we're going to see how far we get before we get the lights turned off. So let's see if we can get this done. Cut some more boxes. I wonder if this will shake a lot, resting on the saw. It's a nice close angle, but probably it'll shake so much it won't work. Hey, but the good thing is you can always play back at night. Even if you want at 2 o'clock, you can play it back at 2 o'clock. Save the good stuff for another time. But here we go. Hold your ears. This is the advantage of doing a live. You can stop anytime and give comments. But this is a nick. And that's because when I started on this, I started up past my ramp up here. It gave me a nick right there. So if you don't want a nick in your handle on the side, make sure you start at the top of the curve and work down. Don't ever go past it. Otherwise, you'll have these small nicks. And if you're a perfectionist, It'll drive you crazy. All right, back to the cutting the hold your ears. That's how the real fast stopping. That's what's supposed to be the cause of the blade coming loose. I'm getting hit by all kinds of shavings on the top of the deck. That's usually an indication that the discharge is locked up. So I'm going to unplug it and clean out the bottom here. And yes, it is. These clogged to the max. That's how you know it's clogged up. When everything is shooting right at you, sometimes that stuff hurts. This is why you're supposed to have a dust collector device. You don't have to do all of this. But that'll be another day, I guess. And the Dado makes a lot of cuttings. It's almost as bad as the planer. Except for the planer is doing more surface. This is only a 5-inch slot. But it is shooting everything out this little hole. So it's quickly overwhelming this little hole. I don't know why this hole in the back has a half block. The top side is blocked and only the bottom side is open. I don't know if that's supposed to be velocity of the air going out quicker near the bottom. But that's an interesting observation. Why the hole is only half the size. The top half of it is all blocked up. Can't see in there, can you? The heck is the camera at? Oh, there's my windows in the way. Yeah, so half of this top side is blocked up. Still can't see it. Huh. It's only the bottom is clear. Don't know why. But it is. Oh. I love this portable saw. You can shove it all around. Take it with you. Air nozzle. Blow those minos out. Yeah, I don't know how much trouble that is right now. So yeah, I do the air sometimes. Oh, crud. You mean I'm having a bad hair day? Oh, good. God. Man, I love it. Too many comments to read. I got lucky and I picked up a Sears contractor table saw and a joiner for 200 bucks. Well, you beat this. This is 400, big box store, and this is my fourth one. Yeah, but it is rigid, so it gives you a lifetime service agreement as long as you register each time they give you a new one. Because if you don't, then you're going to lose the whole deal. But then you got to find a contract or place that'll actually deal with it and try and get you the warranty, and then they'll send you another one, and then you're going to have to put it all back together. Beats the heck out of an old Delta. My frames and boxes should be easy to make now. Yeah, the only thing I noticed is the shaft is the issue for me for the Dado. You want a shaft that can handle up to 3/4 inch Dado stacked, or if you have some other type of Dado, maybe you won't have as much trouble as I do. But yeah, that's my only gripe is the Dado. I did get this because of the shaft was longer than the Sears Craftsman that I had last time. I couldn't do this with that because the shaft was so short. But this is the problem that I'm having with the rigid, and I'm hoping that one of these days they're going to run out of them and get another order off the boat. That's my joke. It has been re-engineered, but for the meantime, they have to use up all their old ones. But right here, there's a tab that snaps off. That's the only one that holds up that side of the whole Dado, the cover that goes on here. There's a tab on the corner, but that one is 3 sides, so that one doesn't break off. This tab is 3 sides, or 2 sides, I'm sorry, 2 sides, so that doesn't break off. And this one is 2 sides, so it don't break off. And this is a plastic deck that looks like aluminum, so when you buy it, you're like, oh, this is a good, strong deck. Well, this is actually plastic. So when this tab snaps off, this whole thing falls down in and pieces are everywhere. It's hopefully not in the way. But that's the only thing I do not like about this saw so far. Oh, and the other thing is the guides. These guides have little grippy things that are supposed to spring-loaded and grab on. They snap off all those little teeth. Maybe because I'm rough, but eventually this thing just slides all over the place. Between those two things, if you can deal with that, the motor has not failed. Of course, this is the 4th one in a couple of years now. No, 2 years, not quite 2 years, so 4 of them. So I don't really know how it can last or how it works after a year because I never really had one that long yet. Yeah, an explosion is exactly it. And yeah, I've had that shrapnel thrown at me a couple times now because this is, like I said, the 4th time it's happened, or 3rd time it's happened. This is 4th saw. So that is the only issue. Now, if you do your own Dado insert, I don't know how you're supposed to hold that in there because they have on theirs a special tab at the top that locks in, and then on the bottom they have a tab that you turn and locks in, and that's the only 2 spots it holds. And then they have these adjustable heights that you're supposed to fine-tune this, and so this fits perfectly flush so you're not catching on it. So I do not know how you're supposed to do that yourself. So mine just floats around in there ready to bounce out. Dangerous. But that's the only way I can do it. Now, in the old days, you could really make something that would fit in there and lock in. But yeah, so sometimes when you have a smaller object that you're cutting, you don't want it to fall down inside. You have to make a smaller slot or a different size dado. But this is the other issue: wood splits. So it makes it a little challenging to be creative. And they told me that they don't have any plans to do a dado, so everything is on you. So let's see. We're going to do the rest of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to go. So back to the watch your ears. Oh, you didn't tell me. I'm supposed to plug this back in. It doesn't work without it. Yeah, I am for portable because sometimes you got to do things at different locations, and portable gives me freedom. There she goes. There's that stopping action. That's what supposedly blows up the blade. I feel your pain. You went through it too. Oh, the explosion? Yes. Nothing like having a shrapnel of wood and plastic run through your body. That is a nice jig. Gives me ideas. Yes, this jig is awesome. I just keep watching YouTube and the people give me ideas. But that jig is not the first one. The first one is here. This is the first jig. Just started out as a piece of plywood, and I make holes in it. And this is actually where that blade is. This is where that little square block was, and the plywood was too short because I had my guide in the back. And so I just screwed on a piece of wood and made it work. And then as I unscrew these pieces of wood, I put them where I want for the different sides over here. And I would just keep moving them back and forth. And what is this, like fourth time doing this now? I decided, you know what? I'm going to make another board that's more permanent and a little more friendly, because I had no idea I was going to make so many boxes. I thought I'd just make a few boxes and be done with it. But the beekeeping addiction has gotten out of control. Now I'm making 8 more again. I did 6 just a couple weeks ago. Started out with, I don't know how many I did. I think I did another 6 before that, and then before that was another one. Man. So I don't know, maybe making the jig the first time really nice is a good idea, but you never know. You might quit the hobby. So, and then you have to have all these jigs sitting around your shop that you can't find when you go to use them the next season or whatever. But yeah, the jig is well worth it when you're going to do more than 8. And then stop and do it another 8 the next couple months. So looks like to me we got 2 more to go. Then I think I'm going to call it a night, because the next part I got to do is the dados on the sides. And unfortunately the time is getting short. So I think I'll have to do that at another time. So the only other thing I have to do is this board, these big long ones are done because I'm doing a rabbit. But the short ends have to have the dado at the top and the sides. This is 3/4 inch, and I believe this is a 1/2 inch. So that receives, where did that board go? That 1/2 inch receives your boards as they sit in that frame. That's a frame rest. And so it's a 1/2 inch, so they're flush with the top, or close to it. Bad lighting. That's the goal. And I do the rabbit because I think all that other dovetail stuff is more joint damage. That's my thought. Because theoretically, when you put these boxes together, the only thing end grain is here on this one edge, 3/8 of end grain, and that's it. But I do know that this tends to buckle all over the place in here. So it's not a real solid mechanical joint. But that's what I'm going to try and see if I change my mind down the road. So here goes 2 more to go. Hold your ears. Oh, any questions here? Yes. Addicted? No joke. I will tell you though, making your own boxes will use a lot of your time, your energy. The equipment that you use is going to cost probably more in the long run if you're only doing short runs. But if you're enjoying the hobby, who cares? Because that's what you're doing. You want to have fun doing something. But it's a lot. It's not probably going to save you a whole lot. Now, if you're doing lots and lots of them, it'll probably save you some money. But for time, you're not going to get paid for your time. So it's kind of like when you build a hot rod. It's cheaper to buy one already done than it is to build your own. But there's a lot of guys that as soon as they get the hot rod built, they sell it because they're not really into driving it. They're into building it. And then there's other guys that just like driving it. They don't want to build it. So it depends on what you like. If you really like beekeeping and opening up boxes and taking bees around and moving them and collecting honey, then building your own boxes is a baloney. But if you like building your own boxes and don't really like the beekeeping, maybe you'll want to start selling them. But I kind of like doing anything I do. So as long as I'm having fun. Unfortunately, my kids don't like anything but video games. So they're not out here joining me. But when I was around my dad used to do this stuff, and I enjoyed it, every moment of it. But some people don't like it. So here goes. Two more. Yep, two more to go. Here we go. Hold your ears. And I like to keep the handle right in the middle, the best spot of the wood, away from all the knots and stuff. Um, Maybe it has less chance of the paint peeling up and stuff. I'm going to take a grinder and just kind of... A grinder actually is pretty nice because you don't have to worry about the sandpaper keeps wearing out. So it's just like a grinder and just rough up these edges. And these edges, just kind of like round them over just a hair so the paint actually sticks. When you have the tools, you can build anything around the house you need. Yeah, as long as you have the time, that's the only deal. Time is something I keep running into problems with. When you get married and have kids, time is sometimes demanded in different ways. So, like they want a shelf. You know what they want? They want the shelf right now. They don't want to wait 5 years while you're designing it, sanding it, planing it, painting it, and putting it together. And then 3 days later, they want to tear it down and throw it away. So that's the only thing with build the stuff yourself. You really love it, and then you don't want to part with it. But today's generation, they only keep it for a couple hours and throw it out. So it's a shame. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. And I think I'll do the rest another time I have some time, whenever that might be. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Tomorrow's Saturday. Maybe we'll have some time tomorrow. Try and knock this out. Have these bee boxes at least drying ready to go because I'm finding out that these bees are kind of demanding, and it's like they always say, you never have enough, you're never prepared, and I think our season is still going, but this is what it's going to look like when it's all done. These are the homemade frames, and very little bit of a gap there because this sometimes swells out and then these fall down in, so I'm time and 10 frames, has a little bit of gap on the side here so that as swell you have about your fingers width. Yeah, the problem is they swell, they stretch, and this is actually from last year. I made boxes, and this is leftovers. This wood, so this is like the second, seconds, or thirds, all kinds of knots. But that's that's what happens. I used everything I had. This is a little thin when I cut it with the saw, but yeah, that's more of the what's that? The growth ring. No, actually, that's toward the center of the tree. So I guess that's more of the rot of the tree. Anyway, and then the way they hang down, they have approximately 3/8 an inch. Well, as you can see, it depends. Sometimes it's 3/8, sometimes it's nothing. Depends on how you build your frames, the imperfections, but it's supposed to be a 3/8 inch gap between the bottom and the next frame. And I can see already that I got problems here. I got them sticking out too far. That's probably because this is sitting down too far. And that's probably because this half an inch, this up here is almost a half an inch, but then this is 3/8. So they're probably sitting down a little bit farther than they're supposed to. So that's a lesson learned. The taper can mess the whole thing up. That's my frames I made. And then this is a factory frame made from Pierco. Oh, Premier frame. This is a Premier frame. The Premier frame is perfectly square on the ends on the bottom with a groove. It's clearly almost all the way through. Then the sides, their bottom and their top are almost identical, but the top is just a tad wider of a dado than the bottom. And then they made 2 dados. Go figure, they make it really fancy. Now I do like the top because there's this spot here is smaller than mine. And so you've got more meat on these tabs on the end. And I do like how tight everything is. It actually has meat all around it when you build these up. I mean, they're so tight that they have hardly any play when you put them together. Now that is in comparison to the way I do them. I don't know who I copied off of, but I copied off of somebody. Let's see here. I don't even know if I have any more of the other sides. But Mine are thinner, and they have a dado on each end, and on the bottom because I messed up on the thickness. So this is comparison. Theirs is about the same thickness, same length, a little thicker, and their dado goes deeper than mine does. And then their tops, theirs is thinner than mine are at the top. About the same width, about the same thickness. The grooves are the same. The grooves are the same depth at the top. But this is a little thinner here. I kind of like that because it gives my fingers a little bit more to bite on. See, theirs is just a tad. Yeah, just a tad bigger. But it gives you just that little bit more meat. So that's the difference between the Premier and whoever I copied mine off of. So anyway, I was tempted to buy everybody's frames at one time just to compare and figure out whose I was going to copy, but that's it. As a CNC programmer, they want that part made the next day. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Oh, man. All right, good night, Jimmy. And thanks for entertaining me. Ending out. Goodbye.